And now, the Sci-Fi Channel original series, Destination Truth.
On this episode of Destination Truth.
When did they first have reports of hauntings here?
There are a lot of evil spirits in this village.
Josh travels to Thailand to investigate a real-life ghost town.
You're scared of this place?
Not now, but after sunset.
At night?
Yeah.
If you're gonna find a ghost in Thailand, this is the spot.
He finds that in this cemetery, things go more than just bump in the night. Next, the crew heads to the Mekong River for the reported sightings of the legendary Naga.
Does he believe that the Naga still lives here?
Yes, he believes.
If we get any chance of finding a Naga, that's the place to do it, on the Mekong.
Does he discover the elusive serpent, or does he find himself all wet?
What are you hearing?
A little bit of movement.
What is that? Did the camera get that?
I'm Josh Gates. My travels have taken me to the most exotic and mysterious places on Earth. I've seen some unexplainable things which have raised some strange questions. Now, I've pulled together a crack team armed with the latest technology to search for answers. I'm not sure what's out there waiting for me, but I know what I'm looking for: the truth. Outside of my love for the film Poltergeist, I'm not a huge ghost buff. I usually leave the apparition searching to the boys over at Ghost Hunters. But when I read in the Associated Foreign Press about a village in Thailand under siege by ghosts, I figured it was about time to put my paranormal hunting skills to the test. We packed up our night vision cameras, thermal imager, and EMF detector in the hopes that we would be able to capture physical evidence of the hauntings. My crew and I then hopped a plane from Los Angeles to Bangkok, Thailand. While on the plane, I had some time on my hands, so I did some further research into the reported sightings. Descriptions of the sightings range from a flesh and blood human that had recently died to a disembodied red glow in the sky. What made this story stand out for me is that the hauntings had become so problematic in the province of Khon Kaen that the villagers were compelled to bring in professional ghost hunters to combat the evil spirits. 8 bad airplane movies later, I was in Thailand.
You know? You got it? We got it? No idea. There wasn't a direct flight to Khon Kaen, so we landed in Bangkok and made our way to the Shock Gallery, where we met with Tom, local translator and fraidy cat who had his own reservations about coming face-to-face with a supernatural entity. I assured him I wouldn't let a ghost get anywhere near him, unless of course the cameras were rolling. So, hauntings and ghosts very popular in Thailand?
Very. Actually, they're beliefs. I'm sure it's popular everywhere else as well, but in Thailand especially.
And so everything in here are just photographic evidence of hauntings?
These are quite famous among the Thai because they were published on local newspaper.
This is actually kind of scary.
Yeah.
I didn't fly halfway around the world to look at some seriously fishy photos of extras from the ring. So the next morning we made our way out to the province of Khon Kaen to meet with the village chief, who could shed more light on the sightings and hopefully direct us to where all the Thai ghouls reportedly hang out.
So even last year, there were still people who saw like a headless ghost.
A headless ghost?
Walking around, they freaked out, ran, and got sick.
Specifically, where in the village have these sightings occurred? Have they been in different areas, or are they all centralized to one place?
There's this one specific location that people often see spirits and ghosts.
It was a long drive to where the witnesses claimed to have seen the headless ghost, and the chief set up a meeting for us with the 2 ghost hunters he'd hired to capture the spirits. He warned us that their attempt to rid the village of the paranormal entities had apparently failed, but who knows, maybe these ghost hunters could capture the ghost for me, and I could just go back to the hotel for one of those famous Thai massages.
So if there are spirits nearby, it's like a detecting device. They go very quickly.
And I will take this and we'll scoop it into this container.
Right.
This is like a ghost trap.
Exactly.
Very low, and it will go into the ghost trap. Okay. And then I will cover the end of it with this. Ghost can't get through this?
No, because this is a holy cloth.
It's a holy cloth. Okay, I get it. Ladies, lead the way. All right, so it wasn't the most scientifically credible investigation I've ever been on, but who was I to question their tried and true ghost hunting technique?
เอากระบอกไม้ไผ่มาเอากระบอกไม้ไผ่มาทางนี้
All right, all right, all right.
ปิด
And there's a ghost in here now. For real. They sense a ghost. Okay. Well, Okay. So, excuse me for one moment. Hold on. All right. So, supposedly, this contains a ghost. But now what do we do? Do I let it go?
Let it go.
You let it go.
No. Let it go. Go ahead, let it go. Give it back to them.
All right. So, I am inclined to believe that there is no ghost in here. But I will give this to you. Do with it what you will. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go. I wanted to stick around and see if these two had a method for hunting Bigfoot. I'm sure it would involve a banana and a lasso. But it was getting late, and the chief told us that the most haunted spot in the province was a monastery at the other end of Khon Ken. There, we would find a graveyard that had so much paranormal activity that many people refused to get anywhere near the premises. It was exactly the invitation I was looking for.
The first thing we're supposed to be listening for is howling.
We made our way to the monastery where the sightings had reportedly occurred. With such a high incidence of paranormal encounters here, most locals avoided this place like the plague, leaving it largely abandoned. We sat down with one of the few remaining residents, a monk, who gave us his account of the hauntings. This monastery or this area we've heard is haunted with ghosts?
มีทั้งในบ้านมาเข้าคนมาประชุมอยู่ที่นี่
He's been hearing noises.
He thinks there are a lot of ghosts.
ราชาเก่าได้มานะ
It's an old graveyard.
An old graveyard. And that's an area with a lot of supernatural activity?
ร่างใหม่เขาท
The monk gave us his blessing to set up our night investigation in the graveyard, but warned us to keep our senses alert for the signs that precede the presence of a spirit. First, we should listen for the sound of howling dogs, as they are believed to be able to see and hear what humans cannot. Second, he mentioned a foul, noxious smell that fills the air when a ghost is present. And just when I thought Tom couldn't get any more frightened by our investigation, we stumbled onto the crematorium. You're scared of this place?
Not now, but after sunset. Yeah.
The furnace had been used to cremate thousands of bodies over the years, a fact which made our poor translator a little uneasy.
This is the most insane thing that anybody can do.
Why?
Because people wouldn't do it. It's like you entering their, death, because you're opening a place that, Now I'm scared, officially.
There's a lot of ash in there.
It's okay now, just imagine, at night, it's very creepy.
Okay, so this is where we'll set up. The crew and I set up our night vision cameras, thermal imaging system, and remote audio technology against the setting sun. If anything, even things undetectable to human senses were to move, make a sound, or even cause a slight drop in temperature, our gear would pick it up. We could transform the graveyard into a maximum security surveillance center for spook hunting. And with our cameras fixed on their targets, I was ready to see where the night would take us.
So how often are they saying there's activity here?
This is the spot. This old, kind of ruined area is very, very active.
Well, it makes sense, obviously. There's been
thousands of people cremated here.
And remain